let's go. Sitting down with Frank Lamicella. It's not every day we get to talk to you. I know it's been a little while. Hopefully we can get into, in depth of everything Power Slap. I mean, there's a lot on the horizon.
Yep.
You've got 3 events coming up in October. Talk to me, Frank. What were the challenges and how satisfying is it for you to be able to put all off this many events and get this many athletes up on stage?
Yeah, I mean, 3 events in October. It's I think it just goes to show how exciting the product is.
Mm-hmm.
So we do October 3rd here in Vegas, Found in Blue. October 24th back in Abu Dhabi for Showdown Week, which every year, it's the UFC Power Slap events around the same time. Then we're over to Riyadh, and we're going to add another event, an 8th event by the end of the year.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah.
8 events, definitely huge. Dana talked about going to 12
Yeah.
in 2026, so the expansion and the growth. Business is good.
Yeah, so if you look at the trajectory, we started, we're done with 14 events in about 2.5 years. We were averaging about 5 a year.
Yeah.
This year we'll do 8, and next year the plan is to go to 12. And the bigger part of next year is, what are the markets that we want to take Power Slap outside of Vegas, outside of the Middle East, to really grow the sport and get more fans to see it. Like, you were there in New Orleans.
Absolutely.
You saw like how exciting that was and how the venue was and the city. So I think it's the time is like right now to start traveling from city to city and get more people to see this. We're already talking to a bunch of cities for where to bring it next.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there in itself. We've seen you guys, run training camps, and there being a big wrestling influence into that. Talk to me about the recruiting strategy and how it's changed this year, and obviously something that you're excited for with the number of events coming up, and even the number of prelim fights that you have coming up on the 3rd.
I think Dana talked about it too the other day. There's no shortage of events or athletes out there, but we want to get the right guys to into the sport. So, we still get a ton of inbounds of people who want to reach out to us and want to be part of Power Slap, whether that's former MMA fighters, former boxers, current MMA fighters, current boxers, Muay Thai guys. Obviously, we brought in Sin as our kind of recruiter and talent recruiter out there. He's got deep ties in wrestling.
Yeah.
And, we talk about it all the time. You got these wrestlers on the regional circuit and some actually on the more national circuit, but they're tough dudes. They get thrown over ropes. They get hit with chairs. And, there's an opportunity here in Power Slap for them, not only to make more money, but how the wrestling business works. It's not all based on the results of your talent. It depends on the booker and what the storyline is. Here, we pitch them, you can be yourself, you can be the character you want to be, but your destiny is in your own hands. If you are the best slap fighter, you're going to rise to the top.
Yeah.
And I think that's really attractive for these guys. On top of the money and the pay, I mean, we've paid out almost $10 million to the roster since we started this thing.
Absolutely phenomenal. It's one of the basics when I interview these wrestlers that come in, and I ask them like, hey, like, what do you think about, they call it the office, not having input into the output of the match, and they light up instantly. They're in control of their destiny. And, obviously it's not just wrestling. We're seeing a diverse background. I had the opportunity to be at the training camp in September and see how wide spectrum of, individuals, both male and female, coming into this sport truly is. And I remember really early on, you said to me, you're like, I don't want Power Slap to be, the MMA or UFC, retirees coming into this sport. And, but you really wanted to craft your own set of athletes.
Listen, if it's the right person, like, it's all about finding the right people and the best at their sport. One big thing that we've seen with the training camps is the guys and girls are getting so much better before they even step on stage. Whereas before the training camps, the first time they'd ever have the opportunity to fight would be at some early prelim. Maybe they train at home or whatever it was. But now they have the opportunity to actually come to Vegas, spend 2-3 days, learn the rules from the commission. We have our champs as the coaches, so the guys at the top are coaching these guys. Get to learn from each other and really dial in before they step on stage. So, and we've increased the output of the number of matches we've been doing. Power Slap 15. This interview will come out probably after that, but we had 11 early prelims on the card. So we're making sure we get more guys and girls, more experience. To your point too, these training camps, have definitely increased the percentage of women in the sport. I think at the last camp, we probably had around 30% women and 70% men. So I see that as a huge growth trajectory for Power Slap.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about the women. There was kind of foreseen that Michael Michelle Brown would face Paige Van Zandt, in June for a title. Obviously, that didn't happen. The unfortunate loss, Ellie Dempster wins by disqualification. We have her going up against Haley J in a great match. Can that be seen as a number one contender match potentially for when Paige's return comes?
Yeah, I mean, I still don't know if we're ready to do a women's belt yet in that division. Again, it's not just the next fight, but it's who's the next contender after that and after that. And I think I'm thrilled with how many women we have participating, particularly in 125. But you still have a bunch of them with only one fight, two fights. Whereas you look at someone like Brandon Rhodes, right, who came from season 3, which is not that long ago. He's already got 5 or 6 fights under his belt. So want to make sure we have enough people in the division to make it competitive to have title shots, and we'll see what the outcome of this these fights are.
I mean, the first division after the core ones that were added was 155. You kind of maybe talk a little bit about that as well. I mean, we've seen obviously 2 title defenses since the title's been dropped, but we haven't seen too many 155 matches yet. What's been the struggle with getting matches booked in that particular division?
I don't think it's much of a struggle. I just think we started. If you think about Road to the Title and how we've developed these guys over the last 2 years, a lot of Road to the Title was the heavyweights, right? Super heavyweight, light heavyweight, middleweight. We're going to have more and more 150. I mean, the 155 guys are really exciting. I mean, Rob is pound for pound maybe one of the best guys, if not the best guy in Power Slap right now.
Do you think he's the John Jones of Power Slap?
Way too early, but he's beat everyone we put in front of him at 155. They'll come. I mean, we have a bunch on the early prelims coming up, and there's going to be way more 155s. It's a really exciting division. Those guys can crack and they have speed.
For sure.
I think that's like one of the big differences that we've seen. The speed difference between the lightweights and some of the super heavyweights is evident, and they still have knockout power and still have really exciting matches.
For sure. I mean, the controversy continues to seem to swirl around the coin toss and Power Slap. Even though the data has come out and proven that the coin toss, the margin of victory by winning and not, is very, very slim. Why do you think that still persists?
So here's the real data and the interesting data. Ever since we started from Power Slap 1 to call it Power Slap 15, the percentage of coin toss winners has continued. If you win the coin toss, whether you win the match, the percentage of that has continued to decrease. It's basically right around 50%, which is what we predicted from the beginning. Like, the sport is not going to be determined by coin toss. Maybe in the very early on Power Slap matches, and if you think about Power Slap 1 and the season 1 road to the title, maybe it had some bearing.
Sure.
But as the guys get better, it's going to be, you have to have both sides of the equation, right? You have to be able to strike well, and you have to have a chin. And it doesn't matter if you win the coin toss or not, because the likelihood of you just winning every coin toss and just going up there and knocking someone out in the first round is so little. Like, you're going to get hit. So I find that stat very interesting. The other stat that's super interesting is the percentage of first round knockouts by the coin toss winner has also gone down. That's down to like 12% now. So it shows how much more talented these guys are getting. And it matches our prediction from the beginning, which over time, the more talented the guys are, the less the coin toss is going to matter. Why there's controversy, I don't know. People are, they always think something's up, but the reality is we literally do the coin tosses in this room with the commission there. We videotape everything. If there's any fighter who wants to confirm whether a coin toss was accurate or not, we're happy to share the video with them. It's just, in our opinion, it's just not a big deal, because the reality is it's not going to save you over the long run. You're going to have the right level of talent and the chin over time, especially if you want to be a champion.
For sure.
And hold on to the belt.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, obviously working with Erica, she was able to, give us a match that we were able to release public and see, Mark Smith, who's obviously a war veteran, everything else, and the credibility that he comes along with it.
The commission's here. They sign off on it. I sign off on it. I review everything and sign off on it. there's nothing
Yeah.
going on other than people creating
Yeah.
controversy
Well,
out thin air for nothing.
I had to laugh. They thought, you guys came in here on a Saturday to make this video just for us, and
Yeah.
like you have the time in the world to do that.
The whole thing's absurd.
Yeah.
I mean, and then like Wolverine, right?
Yeah.
He's lost, I think, like all 7 of his court
Correct.
tosses.
Yes.
Wolverine was the first guy we signed. I mean,
Yeah.
he was the coach on season 1. I mean, he's been one of, the guys who were helped found Power Slap and get this thing off the ground. Like, yeah, I'm also making sure Wolverine was every client. It's out of control.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Too funny. In talking to you, Power Slap number 14, you talked about the arena in New Orleans, kind of as if it was almost purpose built for Power Slap and the engagement of the fans. Talk to me, like, can we see more of those type of venues as you travel this across the USA?
Listen, we're gonna look for the best venue for Power Slap. Obviously, that one worked for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
Like, it had an interval that had, I think it was around 4,200 seats between the floor and that. Not too dissimilar from Fontainebleau, although Fontainebleau more of it's on one side.
Yeah.
I think those arenas work perfectly. And what's really exciting for me is there's a ton of these arenas just like that around the country on college campuses.
Sure.
If you think about like all these big universities, they all have their own sort of indoor, whether it's used for volleyball, basketball. I mean, some of the basketball ones are really big, but basketball, any of these indoor kind of arenas. And I think a big part of our strategy when we start looking at where we bring these events is, like we're legalized in Oklahoma, right?
Yeah.
How cool would a slap event at the University of Oklahoma basketball arena be? Like that type of stuff is going to work so well for the sport.
Yeah.
And we have a young following. We probably have the youngest percentage of 18 to 34 males following the sport. And I think those types of venues are, and you were there, like,
For sure.
the tightness and the ability to feel close to the action.
Yeah.
I always tell people, like, what's really special about Power Slap is, or unique compared to some of the other combat sports, no ropes, no cage, right? Like, everyone
100%.
feels like they can almost reach out and grab the guys.
Yeah.
And then it creates a really fun interaction for the fans when the fighter wins and he's like right there, doing his celebration. You feel part of it.
Yeah, I mean, you know what? Until New Orleans, I thought in my mind, I mean, Apex had some very special days in the early on. It was very cool, unique. Obviously, it wasn't sustainable to grow the sport. Go to Fontainebleau and, phenomenal environment, world class, top notch, 5-star resort, like everything just top of the top. Going to New Orleans really changed the perspective in my mind of how Power Slap is evolving to the true fan base and seeing the hardcore fans come out, because the crowd there was bar none. I mean, obviously bigger than Fontainebleau, but it was just different, I would say. Those blue collar, hardworking, loud individuals coming out to Power Slap. Going to Oklahoma, going to these middle states that you talk about. Do you feel like that is kind of the grassroots growth of this? I know you've had a huge growth on social media, but do you feel it's important to build your loyal fan base by getting on the road, giving them the live experience in middle of America?
Yeah, I think what's super unique about Power Slap is I think it works in that small Oklahoma college basketball type arena, but then I also think it works in Miami, and it works in Houston, and it works in California.
Yeah.
So it's got an I don't think there's any sort of focus on, we're just catering to middle America. It's like, we want to put on the best event. If it lands in a city that maybe doesn't get a ton of big sporting events, to your point, I think we've always said it from the beginning, to really grow the sport, you need to take it on the road and put it in front of more people.
Yeah.
New Orleans was the first stop in that. That one made just so much sense for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
But next year, when we start to add more shows and travel this thing, all these cities are going to have a unique feel to it. They're going to bring out some of their own fans and people. And like I said, I think it works everywhere. Even, Apex, where there's a whole build out happening in Apex.
Totally.
So Apex is going to get way bigger and have way more capacity, still feel tight like it did at the early shows. And Apex will be a perfect venue too if we end up there.
Yeah. I mean, realistically projecting 2026, what's, I don't know if you can say what states, but how many states do you think we're going to get to? And if you can say any specifically.
Yeah, I listen, we'll have our 4 quarterlies in Vegas, right?
Yeah.
We'll be in Abu Dhabi. We'll be in Saudi again. If we do 12 shows, you're probably looking at anywhere between, call it 4 or 5-ish
Yeah.
new states that we'll go to.
Yeah.
Again, there's no secret on the places we want to go.
Sure.
We want to go to Texas. We want to go to California. We want to go to Florida. Our dream is to do the Hawaii event with everyone we have on Hawaii. But then outside of the States, I think next year you'll probably see an international event outside of the Middle East.
Okay.
Whether it's UK, Brazil. I mean, we talked earlier about kind of the new talent coming in. One thing we skipped over was all the international talent coming in.
For sure.
So on Abu Dhabi card and Saudi card coming up in October, you're going to see guys from China, guys from India, guys from Nigeria, guys from Uzbekistan, guys from Kazakhstan. I think we got, I think between Abu Dhabi and Riyadh, there's 12 to 15 countries represented. And I think these guys will start to become heroes of their, just like Zakir, right?
Yeah.
Got massive dude from Kazakhstan,
Totally.
doing some social media stuff, getting a little bit of attention, but then comes joins Power Slap and gets, when he landed back in Kazakhstan after his last event, it was like a hero welcoming. So the guys we have from China are awesome. They were with Dan out there. I mean, this guy literally takes a full metal wrench, slaps it with the side of his hand, bends it, and then bends it back. That's the type of guys that are coming over. He's like 6'9", 300 pounds. He's a massive dude.
Cool. Yeah.
And that's when countries really start to get behind the sport and their athletes, when they have someone from
Yeah. Do you want to drop that individual athlete's name by chance?
I
can say it.
Feng, right?
Yeah. Feng.
Feng. Yeah.
Yeah. Feng Xiaobao.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he'll hopefully be there
Amazing.
soon.
Amazing. How do you balance the growth in America versus the growth internationally? Like, is
From an event perspective or just
both
overall?
talent, events, growth of the business?
Look, it's a global sport. We know fighting works everywhere. That's exactly why the UFC was successful. Fighting, easy to understand, easily translatable. You don't need to speak the language to understand what's going on.
Yeah.
Fighting's in everyone's DNA, whether it's slap, mixed martial arts, whatever. And it's an attractive event no matter where you are. So, I mean, the balance is, works itself out over time with where you go and how often you go abroad versus in the U.S.
Yeah.
Obviously, I have a huge fan base in the U.S., but it's critical to grow it abroad. And, we follow the trends and sort of the viewership on YouTube and, what countries are viewing a lot. But, we're seeing great numbers from a ton of regions. So now it's just about putting on enough events to go to those places.
Yeah, I mean, we're seeing champions from, Brit Slap, Slap Fighting Championship, make announcements that they're coming to Power Slap. How important is it to have these feeder leagues and allow these athletes to get experience before coming to the big
it's a
show?
combination of, what we're doing in the training camps, which I think has been extremely helpful. But at the end of the day, even if we do 12 events, right? Like that's not a ton of events to cover everyone who wants to get into slap fighting all around the world.
Of course.
So having these feeder leagues where they actually get experience, because again, it's way different slapping a bob in a training camp, which is helpful, but that versus actually getting on stage in front of people, performing at your best, calming your nerves, getting up there. Like people need to cycle through some of these feeder leagues. So, I've reached out to almost every slap fighting league around the world that I know. And working with them both on talent, but also content. So not dissimilar from how you can log on to UFC Fight Pass and see, 30 plus promotions from around the world putting on MMA fights. You'll be able to go on Power Slap YouTube probably as soon as this quarter and watch live and VOD slap content from all these different organizations around the world.
Oh, amazing. So that's something that you're actually welcoming. You're welcoming these other leagues to come on board, and you're trying to work with them.
Yep, I think it's great for the sport to have leagues around the world, forming and getting guys through, and we're happy to support it because at the end of the day, it just lifts everybody.
Absolutely. Talk to me about storytelling and social media in Power Slap and how important it is for, one, the organization, but two, the actual fighters as well, to build up their presence and the story that goes along with
I mean, it's something we really focus on. Teaching the audience of who these guys are, what their background is, because at the end of the day, to get someone interested in another person, you gotta tell their story, and they gotta be attracted to the story of why they're there, why are they doing Power Slap, and then also following them from when they start in slap to following their career. So
Sure.
you look at like Bordeaux, right? Guy is a butcher in Michigan.
Yeah.
He's got a mobile butcher truck. Comes into power slap. You learn. I think he started road to the title. You learn about him, and then you follow him during his career. And now he's at the top. And
Absolutely.
it's a critical thing of not just what we do here, but obviously any part of sports. You gotta get the fans invested in the guys and girls that are watching.
Absolutely. I mean, talk to me about his brother Trenten coming in. You gave him Brandon Rhodes, ranked guy off the top, 5+ fights, like you said. What does that say? Does that speak to his talent of, obviously one being Brandon's brother and the skills that you think he's going to bring? You have that much confidence in him? Or
Yeah, we watched him at the training camp.
Yeah.
He definitely stood out to me.
Yeah.
I went there for the day and put my eyes on everybody. And, Brandon's opponent dropped out last minute. So I was thinking, who's here at the training camp who could step in here?
Yeah.
I know he's been working with his brother, obviously.
Yeah.
I watched what he was doing, and he was game for it, so it made sense.
Yeah. I mean, talk about, a little bit about Mark Smith, because I've never seen someone from a commission be, one, so proud to be part of a sport, and two, to be as vested as Mark is. I mean, the training camp, he spoke for 2+ hours, and you could see the passion within him. He talks about, a number of athletes. He knows their tendencies. He studies. Like, what does it mean to have someone like that from the commission on board, and his, integral part in growing this sport, from commission to commission?
Yeah. Well, listen, the whole Nevada State Athletic Commission has been extremely supportive from the beginning. We still hold kind of regular sessions with them on literally like film review, reviewing the tape. What did we see that went wrong? What could be fixed? How can we help each other in building the sport? Obviously, Mark has taken, he's been there from the beginning.
Yeah, Herb Dean.
Yeah, he's been there from the beginning.
Yeah.
He loves what we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think, he cares about everything he does, whether it's MMA, slap, flying Air Force planes. He's just one of those guys that really invests in the things he does. And it's obviously helpful for us and helpful for the fighters.
For sure. Talking about the fighters as well, obviously as the roster grows, more training camps, I mean, you are seeing more opportunities. We are seeing more, especially after Power Slap 14, fighters come out and, challenge calls, officiating, complaining publicly and socially. What's kind of your take on all this? And, I guess, what advice would you have for the roster that chooses to take this path?
Yeah, I mean, look, I would pose the question back, like, how many times do you see an NFL game overturned because of some call? I mean, the reality is there are so many checks and balances in place to make sure the call was right. And of course, sometimes things slip through, but, my advice would be do your best to stay within the rules, because, again, you have to look at this over time. The best guys are going to be the ones who stay within the rules and perform.
Yeah.
I mean, that's really it.
Yeah. I mean, every business grows and evolves. And I think, we're seeing kind of that turnover of the roster. I think, this year more so specifically, we're starting to see guys like Ryan Phillips, Dwayne Crespo, retiring, Wolverine retired and unretired. And, we're starting to get those OGs from Road to the Title that obviously this sport was, built upon in the early days, starting to kind of phase out. And then obviously the recruiting you've done for the past 2 years through Road to the Title, and obviously these camps start to kind of take over. Where do you feel the business is in the growth cycle, in regards to the talent acquisition side and really just the future and where it's going to go?
Yeah, I mean, on the talent side, I wouldn't say we're cycling out. I think we just have so many more athletes coming in that we want to see in a live event.
Yeah.
And when you have a huge roster and you're only doing 12 to 14 fights, per event, there's obviously going to be people left out. Like, it's,
of course,
for us, it's more about just, we always want to find the best. At the end of the day, we want Power Slap to be the place where the best slap fighters fight. And it's getting more, and obviously as you deepen the pool, it's going to get more and more competitive within that pool. So the trajectory is it's going to follow the same path. Like, guys are going to get more talented. It's going to make everyone else get more competitive, and obviously competition feeds kind of excellence. So I think it's only a matter of time before think we have about 150, 160 fighters on the roster. It's a matter. I don't think it's just a matter of time before we have 250.
Awesome. Yeah. I mean, the UFC is what, 750? So
I think it floats between 600 and 800.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and we've heard Dana say that he still believes that Power Slap will be bigger than the UFC one day. Do you think that statement in itself, like, what do you think is the merit behind it? Is it the simplicity? Is it that this sport can transfer across language barriers, regardless if you speak English or not? Like, what do you attribute Dana saying that?
You probably got to, yeah, he probably has his own reasons. The thing that I think about is, you know, it goes back to the point where I was talking about the international fighters and how you kind of become your country's hero really quickly.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about it that the barrier to entry in slap right now is less than the barrier of entry to UFC.
Of course.
Right now, to get into the UFC, you got to be training since you're 8 years old.
Exactly.
This really gives an opportunity for a lot of guys around the world to step up and be a part of it. Obviously, Dana's also probably coming from the perspective of he's been with the UFC for so long. He knows what the history and trajectory was of the UFC from the early days. And again, we've said it from the beginning, the trajectory of Power Slap think about this, in 2 years, we're up to 28 million social media followers. We've done 20 billion owned video views.
Crazy.
And it's not slowing down. 2025, we're already at 100% increase from views from 2024.
Yeah.
And we've only held 4 events this year. Right now, we'll have another 3 or another 4 by year end. But as of you and I talking, we've only done 4 events. So I think he's just looking at the trajectory, the number of sponsors we have, number of athletes we have.
Yeah.
You know, we're in talks with a bunch of media rights partners to figure out where this goes next from a TV perspective. So everything's going amazing. And
Absolutely.
oh shit!
Absolutely. Look who it is.
That's a great interruption.
Dana, how you doing?
Good.
Pleasure as always.
Yeah.
How you doing?
It's fucking freezing.
It's freezing here.
Hey, I'm from Canada. It's perfect. Yeah, I can't complain, man.
No, do you read?
Surprise.
No, do you read? Do you read here? Well, pause and. Okay.
Sorry, my
All
bad.
right, later, boys.
Thank you, Dana. Great to see you.
Yeah, were you guys excited to hear that we're not bankrupt?
Exactly. That's awesome. What were we just talking about now?
Not bankruptcy. That's
Not bankruptcy.
I'll just go to the next one.
Oh, good. Yeah. Yeah. Well, yeah. It's all good. We'll keep on rolling. You know, obviously, we should ask Dana about why he thought.
That's
Power
what we were
Slap-
talking about.
But why
We were talking
Power
about
Slap
why
should
it's
be
bigger.
bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, too funny.
Yeah, I just think it's a really attractive product around the world.
Of course.
And you also got to think about the new generation, you know, how they consume content and what's exciting and, you know, important to that generation. So, you know, it's not necessarily about capturing, you know, all the 34 to 49 demo today.
Yeah.
But it's about capturing that younger audience who, you know, my nephew, for example, loves Power Slap. He's 15 years old, right? He watches it on Instagram. In a few years, he'll be 18, and in a few more years, he'll be 21, spending money with a job, right? So like you gotta take the long-term approach.
Yeah.
But it's obvious that people are watching what we're doing
100%.
And paying attention to the sport. So.
Absolutely. You know, every time I talk to you, you know, the data points keep changing. I mean, any new updates, any surprises that might shock people of where the sport is growing to?
Well, I think like, here's a perfect example. One, the virality hasn't stopped at all. In fact, it's only increased. So, you know, I don't know if you follow WWE, but, you know, AJ Lee just came back. And that was her, you know, that was a huge moment for WWE. I think it did 170 million views on Instagram. But as you know, like at our last Power Slap event, we had 2 or 3 clips that were 250 million views.
Yeah.
Right. So the virality is not stopping. People are still watching it in large swaths.
Yeah.
And then again, like the overall, I'll give you some other stats. The overall viewership, we talked about 100% increase in social media views from this year to last year. Where we've passed in social media followers, NASCAR, PGA, WNBA, X Games, MLS. We're actually on the heels of the MLB. I mean, probably only about 10 million followers behind them across the major platforms.
Crazy.
So I assume we'll catch up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Same thing on YouTube subs. So they're not only watching, but they're actually pressing subscribe to come back. I think those are some interesting numbers. Obviously, sports betting continues to open. I think we're at 14 states right now, and that will continue to grow. Sports betting is so fun on Power Slap. I mean, everyone I talk to loves telling me the bets that they're making and the money that they're making on it. We're up to 30 plus sponsors. So it's just gonna. Oh, this is the other thing I wanted to talk to you guys about: YouTube viewership. So just the other day, I kind of broke down all the YouTube viewership. Each Power Slap event over the last 5 or 6 events is averaging 13 million long form views on YouTube.
Crazy.
Between the event itself and all the matches that we put out. It's roughly around 13 million. So they're not just watching social, but they're watching the actual broadcast. And those are huge numbers for YouTube.
Obviously we've seen WWE go to Netflix. UFC signs a massive deal with Paramount. With Power Slap being on YouTube, is that the long-term play or is that just a short-term play, do you think, until we see one of the majors potentially step up?
Business changes every day.
Yeah.
The direction of the media rights industry is obviously it's looking like it's going towards consolidation in some way. We always talk about it. Eventually there's going to be 5 places to watch content.
Sure.
You're right.
Of course.
I think we evaluate all these opportunities as they come by, and if there's the right home for it, we'll move it there. But YouTube's been great because everyone around the world can watch it live and free. There's not a lot of barriers to entry to watch, and it's a very quick way to get your content to anyone in the world. I mean, there's pretty much no countries that don't have access to YouTube.
For sure. I got to ask you, because I've been wanting this for 2 years. What's the strategy behind releasing the prelim fights, the tape fights, kind of one at a time, sporadically, at least from the outside, or is there a strategy on how you guys?
No, I mean, look, I think when, we want to have always on content, meaning year round, you're getting new content from Power Slap. When we're doing 5 events a year, there's obviously time gaps between that. The early prelims serve to, they serve as a mechanism to give fans new content in between that period. We also use the early prelims to promote on social that day when the event is happening. So I think it's just, it's a way to fill some of the gaps in between events. But I think next year when we go to 12 events, I could totally see the early prelims becoming, streamed live like UFC does. Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Can you give me any hints where the 8th event might be this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think it will be in either the Western Hemisphere or the Eastern Hemisphere.
All right. Keep it as broad as we can be. Oh, good. I mean, right now we talk about the talent. Is there any new talent that you're excited for?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a lot of if you just even look at this card, we talked about Trent and kind of how he's a new guy, but been training with Brandon. Stunts been incredible.
Yeah.
Both Haley and Ellie. Abby Montez she's a monster.
For sure.
She's going to be, we definitely have our eyes on her. She's going to be really, really good in this sport. Terp.
Yeah.
He's kind of the epitome of everything we do here in Power Slap. He's extremely talented and extremely entertaining. He's got some issues he's got to work on just to make sure he makes weight and all that. But he's super exciting. And then again, I think all the international guys, because the great thing about the international guys for us is it opens a whole new fandom. It opens a ton of opportunities in that country or surrounding countries. And we really have the chance to make some big stars from around the country. I mean,
of course,
around the world. Like, I can totally see us literally, if one of the Chinese fighters is really successful, I could totally see us bringing an event to China, and I could totally see the platforms and the country getting behind them because it becomes it becomes a star that's promoted by Power Slap, promoted by Dana, and it's really someone the country can have his or her back on.
Yeah.
So the international talent pool is really exciting right now. And then I love seeing the storylines on the champs and how long they can defend their title. I mean, you got the Bell is what, almost 2.5 years holding the title. It's like 900 days. Wolverine's not too far behind that. You're starting to have trilogy fights that are incredible. The last two between Isaiah and Brandon were awesome, and now we get the third one.
And Super's got turnover right now.
You got Super, and you still got the biggest slap fighter in the world, Dumpling, ready to go. He's going to be fighting in
McKinney Manu.
He's going to be fighting McKinney in Abu Dhabi, and then we'll build out the other divisions. Like we talked about 155. I think it's just totally feasible to see a 145 division soon.
Yeah.
So I'm really high on a lot of guys right now. I mean, some of my favorites to watch, like Black. I love watching Blackburn.
Of course.
I think he's incredible at what he does, and he's kind of cleaned out that division as well. So we'll see what's up for him, and really no different with the Bell, and it'll be interesting to see what happens in super heavyweight. I think over time the super heavyweights will probably become a little bit lighter, they're not going to be walking in here at 380, 400. I think they'll probably walk in here at 320, 350, and they'll be very, I mean, we already are starting to see more athletic guys like Juicy, but they'll be more athletic, and that division is going to be super exciting when you have all these athletic guys that
for sure
you don't see every day.
Yeah, I mean the champs have been all 380, 385 plus up until this point.
Other than the Crazy Hawaiian, which is crazy. So after his last super heavyweight fight, he came up to me and said, I'm going to go down and fight the Bell. Right. So the Crazy Hawaiian was probably 390, somewhere around 390 pounds.
Correct. Yeah.
He lost all this weight. He was sending me pictures every week.
Yeah.
He got down to 280, I think, and then unfortunately had the knee injury.
Of course. Yeah.
And then now he sends me a photo the other day. He goes, I'm 206 and I'm on light heavyweight. So, I mean, the transformation that guy has made, it's going to be really exciting to see how he is at the lighter weights.
100%.
But I give him all the credit in the world for actually, motivating himself to, and he's probably way healthier now, motivating himself from 385 pounds to 210 pounds or whatever he is today.
Absolutely.
I mean, he'll be at the event on Friday. I'll see him. But, that what's also very interesting about that is his brother now gets to be in super heavyweight without the Crazy Hawaiian there. So I think we have, I think after these three events with the new talent pool, like next year is going to be extremely strong.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, the start of this year, I felt like middleweight, had a lot of storylines going on. I feel like right now we're in the era of the heavyweights. The storylines, the matchups, Road to the Title Season 3, all the new entries that came in make that division incredibly exciting.
Yeah.
Your Pono Paul, Westman, Aaron Turner, Bryce Jones, James Seekman.
Nate,
Zakir. All Zakir, all those guys. I feel like super heavy is the next division to come.
Yeah.
With the amount of talent that's coming in, the new guys.
Well, if you remember, probably in 2024, middleweight was actually probably severely underdeveloped.
For sure,
right? Like
100%.
There wasn't a ton of talent in middleweight, and we made it a focus in this room to make sure we build the middleweight division.
Yeah, Isaiah.
You see, in a few events, we turned that from probably undervalued division to maybe the most exciting.
100%.
So it's just about getting the right talent and getting these guys enough reps and enough fights to build themselves and
for sure
move up in the rankings and
for sure
establish themselves.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about Abby Montez. I mean, one of the interesting things, we look at our stats, the Hawaiian culture supports us in Power Slap tremendously. But second is the Mexican contingency. And we never talk about the Mexicans, but obviously Azel Rodriguez has a great following. Dorian Perez, he gets mad because they call him Mexican, but he's American, but obviously of Mexican heritage. Could we ever get to Mexico in the very near future?
100%. I mean, that follows a lot of the trends that we see too, both in viewership and where our followers, where our social media followers are from. Mexico is always in that 3 to 5 category across those. I think it would be incredible.
Yeah. I know I talked to Erica, obviously both of us being Canadian, myself and Erica, but Canada over-indexes as well. I know our, sanctioning and regulatory body is a little bit more stingent, but could that ever happen anytime soon?
Listen, well, We'll go to the places that make the most sense. I think,
Yeah.
I think Canada is one of those places where I'd love to get some more talent from there.
Yeah.
I think we're doing a really phenomenal job in Mexico and getting really talented Mexican fighters. If Canada makes sense, we'll go there. I don't know if it's a next year thing, but it'll certainly be on our radar. It's been an incredible market for fighting for a long time. So
For sure. I mean, you coming from a lawyer background, more behind the scenes, getting thrust into the mainstream light. Dana you were able to mentor under Dana, obviously, and kind of see how he handles the media, the press, post-fight press conferences. How are you taking it all in? Like, do you enjoy it?
It's been a ton of fun.
Yeah.
Obviously the best experience of my life. I would say it's, Dana's an incredible leader, but I've also learned a ton from Lorenzo and an absolute ton from Hunter. Hunter and I work really closely on a lot of these things. So it's been really fun. And then obviously, as you guys know, I run Street League Skateboarding and Nitro Circus too as part of our umbrella company.
Yeah.
Just being able to experience all these different businesses and the fans and the different cultures, it really makes you sort of well-rounded. And some of the stuff that I learned from there, I apply to Power Slap. Some of the stuff I learned from Power Slap, I apply there. I have a phenomenal team out here. I got to give credit where credit's due. I mean, we have the best live producer in the world. We got an incredible operations team. Our social team kills it, and it's not one person. It's everybody. But it's been super fun. I mean, my favorite thing, honestly, is just like seeing the fighters grow, seeing the sport grow, seeing the business grow, and being a part of that.
Absolutely. Has there been like any one moment, over the past, 14 events that was kind of an epiphany, like aha moment, like this is the reason why I want to be?
Yeah, I mean, there's a few. There's definitely a few. I still think back to Power Slap 1, just because at that point we had a TV product.
Yeah.
And we hadn't put it on in front of people. Sure. We all knew the potential that it had.
Yeah.
But then actually seeing the excitement at Power Slap 1 was huge. The next one was Durango for me. Taking it outside of Apex for the first time, and the amount of talent that came. Travis Scott was there, Speed was there, Kai was there, Brady was there, Barkley. Actually seeing some of your childhood heroes there, right? Like people that you've looked up to and watched. I mean, I remember watching Charles Barkley on the Suns 20 years ago when I was a kid. Watching 90s NBA. And so that was really cool to see that. But also, again, like seeing the fans react to the product.
Yeah.
Abu Dhabi was great because it's the first time you take something overseas and put it on in front of a different audience.
Yeah.
And then
what about Saudi going there?
Yeah,
independent of the UFC. First time you did the event.
I mean, Saudi was incredible too. What was fascinating about Saudi was how educated the fans were on it before we even got there. They were. Yeah. They knew who the fighters were. They were chanting their names. They were doing the whole 1, 2, 3 count. And they were super into it. And that's why, obviously we're going back and we'll be back there definitely more times. Our first Found Blue show, the International Fight Week show that had the most people ever at that point. And it was close to like 3,800. And then obviously New Orleans, bringing it to that arena and changing up the scenery from Vegas was super cool.
For sure.
So, over time, all these moments there'll be special moments that stand out.
Yeah. I mean, for me, going Power Slap when you talk about, Wolverine beating Darius, guy that lost to him twice in a row, overcomes all the adversity, the underdog.
It goes back to the storytelling you're talking about, 100%. Right? Like, think about that story. Guy loses to him every time in some other organization.
Yeah.
They coach on season 1.
Yeah.
And then Wolverine kind of gets the win with the one slap knockout. And you could tell how excited he was about it when he did it.
Totally. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, I appreciate you joining us, sitting down and talking about it. I think it's one of the most probably in-depth, behind the scenes look that we've ever had with you. So
awesome.
I appreciate everything that you do. And
thanks, man.
We'll be here for the journey and where it goes.
Awesome.
So
thank you.